Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, and we're back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio with Sam Mckeown, business coach. He's an executive coach. Sam Mckeown here in studio with us. We're going to talk about the word of the year. What is your word for the year? We're going to expound on that here in just a moment. Quick shout out to Lawn Anglers, the official landscape company of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Adam Long does a great job. Land maintenance, landscaping, mulching, tree trimming, and yard cleanouts. Adam Long, you can find him online as well, and reach out to the show. We'll put him on our website. You'll see all his contact there. Okay, a couple of hot listings from the Platinum MVP team. By the way, did you know the average homeowner net worth versus the average renter, $396,200 is the net worth of homeowners versus renters. It's almost 40 times greater, and that the source is the Fed, and it's $10,400 for renters. So get into home ownership if you're not already there. Rio de Janeiro, great opportunity to own real estate here. 1161 Rio de Janeiro Avenue. This is down in Port Charlotte. This is a beautiful property. Punta Gorda, actually. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,574 square feet. You got 22.22 acre. New metal roof. Beautiful roof on this property. A large kitchen. Primary ensuite has a walk-in shower, garden tub, maintained meticulously. You have a beautiful pool and a hot tub there, screened in as well, and a private pool in your own backyard. Minutes to downtown Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte, and close to North Fort Myers as well. 1161 Rio de Janeiro Avenue, Punta Gorda, one of our hot listings. 1301 Rowan Tree Drive in Dover. This is a large 2-story home on a corner lot. 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3 car garage, 4223 square feet. You got a 2-story home for sale here on Rowan Tree Drive in Dover. Countertops, beautiful granite countertops. Master bedroom with a garden tub, separate walk-in shower, 3 additional bedrooms, of course, upstairs as well on the second level. Fully fenced-in yard. Prime location, great opportunity. Kitchen's elegant too. Granite countertops, wood cabinetry, stainless steel appliances, breakfast bar, and a separate island. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinumcoastalelite.com. Check out platinumcoastalelite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it there.
All right, executive coach Sam Mckeown back in studio. Sam and Rita Live, welcome back, sir.
How you doing today, Brandon?
Blessed and highly favored, my friend.
Yep, better than I deserve. That's for sure today.
Yes, sir. I can't believe 24 is almost to an end.
Oh my goodness, yes.
24 is almost here. That is, it's crazy.
Yeah, somebody said something. Well, we're just starting December. It's already the 5th. It's like the first 5 days, just where'd they go?
Yeah.
But yeah, before we know it, it will be 2024. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a volatile year. It's going to be a volatile year for businesses.
Yeah.
Just because of the political climate, and it just is. And
you have that gut feeling, like everybody, like Tucker gave a speech a few days back. He's like, everybody has this gut feeling that something's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, and you're hoping it's good.
We're hoping something positive happens.
Yeah, something positive is going to happen, and it really do. I mean, of course, we're both men of faith, and so we have to look at it that way. I mean, it's just the way we're built, right?
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of guys struggling. They don't know what's going to happen. There's a realistic fear that what happened in the 2020 election, as far as shutting this country down, is going to happen again.
Exactly.
Because you got the same. I need to be polite. You have the same people in charge.
Yeah.
And, Gavin Newsom's running a shadow campaign.
Yeah.
He was on stage and totally lied.
Over and over
again. And he had a congressman from California that went and debunked everything he said. Oh my God, it was so good to listen to. I listened
to the whole thing. I couldn't stop. He's like, and he said this, and then but it's actually this.
Yeah,
I actually reposted that on my page.
Yeah, and it's not like it was somebody from outside the state. It was somebody that lives there.
Yeah,
and so yeah, people are fearful. Interest rates are still up. I saw an article where they were going down a little bit. I don't know what you see on that side, but what people don't realize is the credit card debt in this country is through the roof.
Yeah.
And people have lived on credit cards because they can't afford to buy groceries. They can't afford to put gas in their car. And so they're worried. Business people are worried. I'm involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and I don't know of well, maybe Thomas King. We both know Thomas, right?
TK.
He doesn't worry about much, right? But there's a lot of businesses out there like what's 2024 going to look like?
Yeah.
You know, they survived 23 for the most part. They have good plans for 2024, but there's so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough.
It's a challenge too, because especially if you're in sales, or especially when you think about the traditional, conventional wisdom, and especially people that are going to be spending big money, right? They're going to be making big investments. They're going to play that wait and see thing. Let's wait and see.
Yes.
Let's wait and see. So then you're talking about all the way to November.
Right.
So then you have this investment. Are the investments going to come through? Are people going to pull the trigger on real estate deals? So there's a certain element that has that. Not to say all.
Right.
We're speaking generalities here, but it's an interesting time, man. It really is.
Yeah.
And what can we do, right? I think it goes back to Stephen Covey, right? So
Yes.
what can we control? And I think that's what you like to focus on with your clients.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. What is within my control, within my realm? Gentleman was on before was talking about that circle that you have, that inner circle, and who are they? And he was very right. You don't just cut people out, but you move away from people who are negative Nancy, I think is the word you use, right?
Yeah.
And I like that. And so you move away from them, and you don't have to cut them out of your life, because at some point in time they're going to see what you're doing, and they're going to see your success, and maybe come around and say, hey, Brandon, I see that you're really successful at this. I tried it once. What can I do to model my real estate business after yours?
Right.
And so, and you have them in your business, the realtors that, they're always crying poor. They're always, they're not selling anything. Well, they're not selling anything because they're always crying poor.
Yeah.
Right. They've got that negative
It's a
mindset.
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. I'm no good. Well, yeah, you're no good.
Open houses don't work.
Right.
Actually, they do. I love it when we did a story, we had an open house. It was $1 million listing, Clearwater Beach. The agent, I love it when this happens. The agent that was volunteering their time on a Sunday afternoon, sitting that open house, got the contract because they were there, and it was an unrepresented buyer. So they ended up getting the deal. So I love to repeat those stories. Hey, by the way, here's what happened this weekend.
Yeah, you get so many people that you have to do whatever the new in thing is, right?
Yeah.
But there's tried and true methods,
right?
Open houses, things like that, they work. I mean, when my wife and I are out looking, we go to open houses until we decide what we really want to do, when we're going to move, and that kind of stuff. That's what we did in Wyoming. We've started that down here.
Yep.
And I'm not going to tie up a good real estate agent's time,
right,
while I'm still trying to figure out what it is I want.
Yeah.
Right. And so open houses are perfect for me, and you go around, you see what you want, you see the neighborhoods you want, and things like that. And there's stuff like that in business. One of the things that most coaches, they're more teachers, trainers than they are coaches. They don't ask good questions. And that's the one thing that I think that differentiates me from a lot of the people who are in the business is we start talking, and part of this, Brandon, I believe, has to do with our faith basis, right? I don't go into any coaching session that's not prayed about first. Okay. And so I believe that the questions are inspired, and I get insights by talking to people and say, they see where they're at and everything else. Then I know the right questions to ask and to bring out what it is they're really truly looking for. And then because I can teach you to do something, it's like give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach a man to fish. Okay. Yeah. But get the person to get it from their heart as to what it is they really want. My job's done.
Yeah.
I love that. They have said, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I'm thinking. This is where I need to go. All because I asked the right question.
The right questions. The quality of your life is in many ways determined on the quality of the questions that you ask.
Yes.
Yeah. Or a good coach asks you, right? It's like, not why did this happen to me? It's like, what good can come from this?
Yes.
What lessons should I have learned from that?
Right. There's no such thing as unless it's fatal, failure's good.
Right.
As long as you look at it like, okay, what did I do wrong? How do I improve it the next time? How do I not make that mistake again?
Yeah. I love it.
I mean, and a good coach will help you see that.
Let me bounce a couple of verses off you then.
Sure.
So here's one. Everything is possible for him who believes. Mark 23:28 or 23, 9:23. What do you take from that?
So, it says if you have the faith, a grain of a mustard seed, and if anybody knows what a mustard seed is, that's very little faith. Okay, So we have a tendency to diminish or doubt our faith because it doesn't happen right now.
Yeah, and you can't see it.
You can't
like
see
it's not,
it.
Yeah.
And you don't see God working except in certain areas and times. So the stuff that you're praying for, the stuff that you want, it's all going on in the background.
Right.
And then if you are sensitive to the Holy Spirit, if you're sensitive to God's leading,
right,
you realize that's where it came from.
Yeah. You got to be willing to hear it and open to and I think something I need to do more of is get still, get quiet.
Oh, and that's so vital. And you know, people, I have a lot of my clients will do. They have their morning quiet time, still time, and stuff like that. But I've gotten into the habit now of hitting 3 or 4 times during the day.
Yeah.
Where I take 5 to 10 minutes, and
go.
I have a chair I sit in, and one of the dogs will come around, and I sit and I relax and I listen.
Yeah.
I don't have TV on. I don't have the phone going. Don't have anything going. Just that to wind myself down.
I love it.
And so, you have to be still if you're going to hear the voice of the Lord.
Here's one too I wanted to get to today. This one is a clip on Charlie Kirk. He does such a great job on his Sunday shows, especially where he's sitting in a church talking to the congregation. But he goes on about Deuteronomy here.
How about the book of Deuteronomy? The book of Deuteronomy is one of my favorite books of the Bible. Most pastors don't even open the book of Deuteronomy because they can't spell Deuteronomy. And it's Moses' farewell address. So it's an amazing book. I encourage you guys to study it because this is Moses' final, hey guys, before you enter the promised land, the land of Canaan, here's all the stuff that we've gone through, and God is speaking through Moses. Do you know that Deuteronomy was the most quoted book by the founding fathers, secular or religious, when they were founding the Federalist Papers, the Constitution, the Declaration? 55 out of 56 of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. And so what they call Christian nationalism, we call reasserting the biblical role of being counselor to the king.
And the whole Christian nationalism, have you seen that branding coming out? Like the left trying to brand Mike Johnson and people that are of faith, especially Christians and Jews and people of faith. I mean, these are good people. These are people that believe in all the things that America was founded on, as he was saying. But they're trying to brand Christian nationalism as if it's a bad thing.
Yes, yeah. But they can believe the way they want to.
Yeah.
We have a president who would brand you and I that way,
right?
But he claims to be a devout Catholic,
right?
What's the difference,
right?
And you can get an argument as far as Catholicism, Christianity, whatever. Right. But I know I know half my family's Catholic, but I also know I'm going to see him in heaven because they've accepted the fact that Jesus is their personal Savior, and they've admitted that fact, right? And so, so what's the difference?
Yeah. Well, Christian, okay, boom, yes, okay. Call me a Christian, great. Yeah. Nationalism, yeah, hey, I love my nation. Yeah. I love America. Right. I love what the blessings that have come through this country. Many, many people do. Yeah. So they're trying to slant it like it's a negative thing. Right. And then, on that other note too, the people that believe men can give birth and men, it's okay for men to be in women's sports. How can, on one hand, can you call yourself a Catholic, then believe in that, right?
I don't believe you can.
No.
I don't believe you can.
Right.
It's counterintuitive, Yeah. And you say, first off, if you're Catholic and you're okay with abortion up till birth,
right?
You've totally violated the sanctity of your religion.
Yeah, exactly.
Pure and simple.
Yeah. So. And how can you be a good Christian and say that, and just go along with this whole trans agenda? You just can't. And more and more churches, and that's what Charlie was saying in later clips. He's saying, more and more churches need to stand up and say, look, hey, but what they'll say is, oh, well, we love everybody. Well, it's great. You don't lie to somebody you love.
Right.
You say, look, you have a problem here. You're not a man. You're a female, or vice versa, because they're shifting genders like it's fluid. Right. So the church needs to stand up. Pastors need to stand up and do what's right and not go and hurt or try to salvage people's feelings. Right. I think is what's happening.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. And there's biblical background for it. I remember years and years and years ago, somebody applied to get into an Ivy League school, and they put down that they were Native American.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I may not be an Indian Native American, but I was born here.
Right.
And when they got to the interview, it's like, oh, you falsified the application. You're not Native American.
And it was just a mistake. They didn't realize what they meant.
No.
Got it.
And this was years ago. Now they get away with it.
Right.
You know.
Well, there was somebody that just got caught for that too.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was, but it was a musician or somebody they went through their whole life. We got to take a quick break there. Sam Mckeown, executive coach. We're talking about your word for the year. We're going to talk about that coming up here. What is your word for 2024? Coming up with Sam Mckeown, executive coach here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. They offer the very best nationwide coverage on 4G and 5G LTE networks and exceptional 100% US-based customer support. Patriot Mobile offers discounts for veterans and first responders, NRA members, and families with multiple lines. Learn more at patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. That's patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach out at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. And we'd be happy to tell you more about Patriot Mobile. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894. We're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team. Sam Mckeown in the house, executive coach. Sam and Rita Live. He's a coach here in Tampa Bay. One of our hot listings from this segment is going to be 3864 50th Avenue South. We got a hot listing in St. Petersburg. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 1659 square feet, fully remodeled, beautiful property. The kitchen features stainless steel appliances, tiled backsplash and island. You also have a screened-in back patio there overlooking the yard. Block away from Maximo Marina and the famous Tiki Docks. Great location. 3864 50th Avenue South, St. Petersburg. And you can see all of our listings at platinumcoastalelite.com. All right, Sam Mckeown in the house. Word for the year. What's your strategy around that?
Well, my strategy around that is every year I pick a different word for the year. My word last year was, for 2023, this year I guess, was healing. Okay. And, anybody who knows my history in 2022, by the time I got around to, between this cancer and heart issues and stuff like that, getting towards the end of the year, I was still a mess. I was not right in the head when it came to my focus. So I came up with healing as my word for the year. And I put an acrostic to it, stuff like healthy heart habits, enthusiastic all the time. So I made a good acrostic. Well, the most important part of that, in my opinion, was the G, which is God-centric. To gaze at God, glance at the issues, to try and keep my focus on God, not what's going on around me.
Love it.
And so now I'm going through the review process. I do have accountability partners, and we keep notes on our accountability meetings so we can back and say, well, and so, but it's real life,
Right.
And so I'm looking, I believe that the problem this time of the year, and not so much now, but another couple weeks, people are going to think about New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
This is the time to be selling gym memberships.
There you go.
It just is, right? Yeah. And so, and they don't work. They don't work. But if you can determine where you're going to go next year, what are you going to focus on, and then develop a good acrostic around it that says, okay, healing. What's my H word? It's healthy heart habits. It's to be, to move forward in a healthy. I've been on a weight loss journey now for quite a long time, but really serious for about 8 weeks now. I'm down almost 20 pounds.
Nice.
And so, but Pastor says to me, he says, well, what do you attribute that to? I said, well, I'm doing what you're supposed to. I'm eating right and I'm exercising.
Nice.
There's no trick. There's no,
right.
There's none of that stuff. You got to eat right and you got to exercise.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not because of some of the health issues. It's not really strenuous. It's a lot of walking,
right.
And so just 15, 20 minutes a day makes a huge difference in your body.
Yeah,
so just things
activity.
like that. Yeah.
Get the heart rate up every day.
Yeah. But it brings stuff like that into focus.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. I think that's a key element for people that are looking to be successful, and to not get down on yourself when you don't hit your goal immediately, because it takes time.
Yes. Yes.
Especially if it's something that you're doing for the first time or newer at it, you've got to really take each step as a blessing.
Right.
Here's another. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Genesis 1:27. Develop a healthy self-image.
Yeah. Most people don't realize, they look in the mirror. You look in the mirror, you see Brandon Rhymes. What does God see? God sees a perfect creature that he created in his image.
Right.
So everything that you think you are, or I think I am, God has a whole different picture.
Yeah.
He pictures us that perfect creature.
Right.
He created us in his image, perfect creatures. Okay? And so that's what he sees. Now, are we all sinners? Yes, we're all sinners, but we have an advocate. We have, when, regardless of what your faith is, we're all going to have a judgment day. And that judgment day comes and, you stand before God. Well, Christ is there to intercede. No, right. I got him. I got Brandon. I got Sam.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but God sees you entirely different than what you see you. We look in the mirror. I look in the mirror and it's like, I'm carrying a little bit of weight around, and I said, God doesn't see that.
Yeah.
You're perfect in God's eyes. And so that's really hard for me to get. I try to get that across to my teenagers at church.
Yeah.
And it's tough for them to see that, especially there's, the body shaming and all this kind of stuff. But,
right.
But if we would realize that when we look in the mirror, that's not what God sees.
Yeah. And the potential.
Yeah.
The potential that you have.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, that's Ephesians 6:13, find strength through adversity. Yeah.
So the beginning part of the full armor of God.
Yeah.
That is what we need. And it starts with the Word, starts with the Bible. That is, and then we'll go through there. There's one part of that, if you read on, it tells you what the buckler.
Yeah.
Most people don't know what that is. But it basically was a wrist plate to be able to block somebody else's sword.
Oh,
and
okay.
it just like it goes on opposite from your sword arm, and because I had to research that for a series I was doing.
That's cool.
But it was a defensive mechanism.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not always on the offense.
Right.
We have to be on the defense, right? So and we have to put on the full armor of God, and that involves prayer. And as men of faith, we need to be involved in prayer ministries and the Word, and having a good fellowship around you. Can't go it alone.
Yeah, I love that. And if you have that, just know that it is biblical, that you are blessed and you're watched after and you're looked after. If you have a praying mother like I did, I attribute a lot of my success and avoiding problems by a praying mother. And I thank her for that.
Me too.
So
yeah. It's just it's phenomenal. This has been a great conversation.
I love it, man. How do you want people to connect with you?
Best way to connect with me, Sam at aliveandatpeace.com. Aliveandatpeace.com is the website. Telephone number is 813-379-9008.
Awesome. And and you can also go to consumerqb.com or reach out to our show hotline, consumerqb.com. Sam Mckeown, always a pleasure catching up with you. Sam and Rita Live. And another great show. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play.